Guess what time it is, guys? That's right, it's finally time for us to head back to Castlevania, with what is often seen as the best game in the franchise, although I disagree with that on multiple levels. Why? Well, I'll go into that as we go, but anyway, welcome everyone to Super Castlevania 4, and it looks so pretty for a Super Nintendo game. This was the launcher, wasn't it, actually? Huh. Anyway, if you're expecting any more progression in the story of Simon Belmont, I'm sorry to say you won't be getting that. This is pretty much a retelling of the original game. 92, so this was 2 years or so into the Super Nintendo. And as a homage to 3, I'm gonna make my name help me. Sadly, it doesn't give me 10 lives. And look at that! That looks so pretty! I hope I didn't skip that cutscene, any of that cutscene. Now, first off, you're gonna notice the soundtrack is very good. I should have shown it off here, but you can actually moonwalk with Simon. Now, one thing you'll notice immediately when playing the game is that the momentum's different. You can actually influence your direction in midair. What a concept! Yeah, because it's no longer the jump of the old games. And I gotta say, best first level theme in the series, Vampire Killer aside. It's called the Theme of Simon. There's a reason it's the intro theme. Just gonna be quiet so you guys can hear this. It's so catchy! And yet it still has the same pause jingle. That's nice. But as you might have noticed, I was actually doing things that you weren't able to do in the old Castlevania games. For one thing, you can whip in any direction. Thank you! Another weird little difference is you can since I can now whip upwards, due to the fact that they did that, sub-weapons are no longer up and B. Instead they are, I believe... Yeah, they're L and R, or is it just R? I think it's just R, actually. And I still got hit by that. Also, you might notice, if I wait a second when I whip, it, like, dangles a bit. You can actually control it when it dangles. You'll see that a bit later on, I believe. Now, the first level here in Super Castlevania 4, I almost called it Simon's Quest, but that's Castlevania 2. It's fairly standard. In fact, I could say that's probably the easiest first level in the series, Castlevania 2 aside, because there is no real level to that game. That's just go where you need to go and find it. Also, we can now Indiana Jones our way across things. I love doing this for some reason, and I don't know why. Also, this game is much longer than Castlevania's 1 through 3, so this is actually going to be quite a bit longer than those games, because I'm only doing 2 levels apart. Which means that some of these levels are still going to be like 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, 20 minutes long. In fact, yeah, you can just barely see me flipping my whip around a bit, as you can see. Now, in terms of sub-weapons that in terms of sub-weapon descriptions, they're pretty much the same. The axe still goes in the arc, the stopwatch still stops time, the dagger you still throw, the holy water is still overpowered beyond belief. Oh, these enemies right here are tricky. You have to go under them for them to activate, which is annoying. Luckily, they go down in one full whip swipe. Candles still hold all your items, obviously, and there are still hidden pork chops in the wall. I'm still not sure how those get there. Well, actually, no, they're not pork chops in this game. They're drumsticks and turkeys. Also, random unicorn heads that I can explode and fire. In fact, another thing I love about this game, every enemy explodes and fires for some reason, and I love that. random heart in the wall. Okay. Now, thankfully, hearts are back to being ammunition. They're no longer currency like they were in Castlevania 2, and that's... Actually, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Mind you, at the same time, they were currency in Castlevania 2, but at the same time, they were also, ammunition, depending on the weapon. Stopwatch, like I mentioned earlier, still stops time, and Medusa heads, thankfully, are very easy to deal with now that we can dangle our whip. Those, smaller platforms you can see me walking over on this screen, if you jump on them, you'll fall through, so don't do that. In fact, just walk. So yeah, 6 minutes into a freaking level. I think by now in Castlevania 1 I would have done, like, 2 levels. Think is the keyword, I'm not too sure, honestly, depending on how well I'm playing. Ghosts are fairly standard enemies. Also, you're gonna want the knife for the first boss, because it pretty much destroys him. I think it's a he. Okay, I'll be honest, I didn't see that enemy there at all. Yeah, well, I love this game. You're gonna be noticing I'm gonna be taking a lot more hits, because, for one thing, I don't play it as often, and I don't know where everything is. Anyway, first boss of the game is Skeleton Rider. First phase, you have to hit the head of the horse that he's on. The knife is very good for that, and then on the second phase, he likes to, just go right at you. The horse attacks with fireballs, he attacks physically, and he can separate into bones like this. But, like I said, the knife essentially destroys him like nothing else. I teabag your corpse, sir! Considering the fact I'm wearing some sort of skirt, that's kind of... I don't really get the skirt design there, Simon. I can see your thigh very clearly. Also, them Super Nintendo sound effects. And we actually get a world map that's actually rather detailed, as compared to Castlevania 1. What's really funny is, most of Castlevania 4 isn't actually at Castlevania itself. It's actually the path to the castle that we're doing. Anyway, Stage 2, as I call it, Swamp and River. Now that is some drumbeat Congo things. Anyway, this level, first off, I hate those little grass enemies there. They're so hard to see. This is pretty much an apology for the forest level in Castlevania 3, honestly, because, for one thing, you can take out the spiders very easily, you can take out any kind of bird easily. In fact, that's one thing I really like about dangling the whip. Because, dangling the whip, I need to think of a better term for that, is really good for taking out smaller enemies. Is there audio desync? I can't tell. Anyway, these little armadillos here, they're kind of annoying, but they only take 2 full whip swipes to take out. That's useful. I didn't think I made that jump, I'll be honest. Also, I'll admit, I'm probably gonna have a couple deaths in this run just because I'm a pure idiot. I'm so used to the original Castlevania physics that I will probably jump expecting me never to be able to turn around, and I can just completely help myself and survive. But because this is Castlevania 4, I can just turn around, but I just forget that a lot. Though knockback is still a thing, but it also depends on the enemy, I think. I forget, honestly. You think I'd remember that? I only recorded this like a half hour ago. Also, zombies. Yeah, knockback is indeed still a thing. Thankfully, it's not as drastic, because there's a bit better of a scale in terms of how big everything is, but it still is annoying. Now, normally, if pretty much any other Castlevania game, if you touch water, you're dead, but thankfully this is swamp water, so you can jump in it. Because, you sink in it, and you can just jump and continuously cheese the level that way. Kind of like, Oil Lotion Zone in Sonic 2. Yeah, Oil Lotion. I had to think about if that was... I had to think if that was actually the name. Proof of my point there, the clock would have fallen through if that was normal water. Also, frog enemies. I hate frog enemies. But as you can see, I forgot about that, so I'm avoiding the water like the plague. Though I want that candle. Now, one thing I will compliment about this game, aside from the awesome control... Oh, first off, Cross Boomerang does the exact same thing it did in the old games. Goes forward, then goes backward. Is the fact that the difficulty curve is nowhere near as drastic. This game actually starts off rather easy. Like, I know people that cannot beat the first level of Castlevania 1, but can beat the first 5 levels of this game, so... That says something about the difficulty. Also, thankfully, crows are no longer the annoyance they once were. Still hate them, though. That could also just be a bias, considering I've been playing these games since I was a kid. Now, in terms of a good example of how the difficulty curve is, make sure you have the cross boomerang for this upcoming boss, because certain stages in this game, and by certain, I pretty much mean this one and maybe one other, the boss is actually right here in the middle of it. And what is the boss? Medusa, but watch what the cross boomerang does to her. Third of her life gone. Over half. And she's dead. If you don't have the cross boomerang, she is rather annoying, but if you do, and you should... honestly, I don't think you should lose. Ooh, double shot. The double and triple shots do return, and they do the same things that they used to do in the old games. They allow you to have more than one sub-weapon on screen at a time. I forget if we'll be seeing the triple shot often. I know we'll be seeing it at least once, due to a certain secret at the end of the game, if you know what I mean. Also, River's going uphill. What the sense make? Also, that little potion I picked up about a minute, not a minute, probably like 20 seconds ago. That is pretty much the invincibility item. It does what it did in the old games. I'm saying it as if this is a new one. This game came out only, what, 5 years after the... No, not 5. Maybe around 5 or 6 years after the original. And it's often seen as one of the best, for good reason, mind you, but it's not the best. I'll get into that during the credits in like 5-6 parts. I'm not sure how long this is going to be. In fact, with me mentioning that, fun little fact for a bit of a backstory here on FPS Gamers 3. How long has it been since I said the name of the channel on camera? This was actually supposed to be a much earlier Let's Play. I originally had this planned for after Castlevania 1, like immediately after Castlevania 1, way back in the day. And same thing for Castlevania 2. I was going to do them quite a bit earlier than I actually did. But for one thing, I couldn't really record Super Nintendo games well, so that kind of didn't work out. Because I had a different recording program for then than I did now. I wasn't able to do Super Nintendo with it. I was able to do NES, obviously, but I just sucked at Castlevania 2 in my original playthrough. So those got cancelled rather quickly. But with that, and us heading on to Stage 3, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And next time on Let's Play Super Castlevania 4, we'll be doing Stages 3 and 4. See you guys then.